Hello, Mine University students. I'm Jason Inman.
And I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
Now, we're not doing the usual hullabaloo because Ashley and I have just celebrated, if you're familiar, of a little American holiday called Thanksgiving. Well, last week, Ashley and I celebrated that hullabaloo. How was it, Ashley?
It was full of turkeys and joy and thanks and gratitude for the sweet people whose land we live on.
It's a very succinct way to put it, and I love it. So because of that, and because Ashley and I were visiting our families for the very first time after this long pandemic, we decided that instead of including a normal GHL episode this week, we would give you a peek into the Patreon over at patreon.com/Jawiin. That's Jawiin. And this week, instead of hearing a normal Geek History Lesson episode, you're going to hear an episode of Jason and Jeremy John about Justice League. Now, we talk about this on the podcast all the time, and I mean this with no hyperbole, but I truly do think this might be the episode you're going to hear today, if you keep listening through this long introduction, might be the best episode of Jason and Jeremy John about Justice League that we have ever recorded. It is Justice League Fury, Season 1, Episode 16. Now, Ashley, I know you're not on the Jason and Jeremy. You're not in the title of that podcast, right?
That's true.
So you're not on that podcast.
No.
I think you've made
at the time of this recording, I am not on. I mean, maybe in the background.
Oh, would you want to come on? We should do that.
Anytime, baby.
What episode? You should pick an episode you want to do, and you should join us.
Okay.
That would be a fun one.
Great.
One that you have like a special connection to.
The Christmas episode.
Guys, we're doing Patreon planning live on the air. Ashley, you listen to every episode, correct?
I do. It's actually really fun to be on the other side of the equation.
How would you describe to somebody that is not a lovely patron and doesn't support us over there, and we thank all the patrons that do, how would you describe the podcast to people that have never heard it before?
If you are a fan of Jason and you ever wondered what it was like to be buddies with him and his best friend Jeremy, this is the closest that you can get in recording form.
Oh, really?
I have been fortunate enough to hang with the both of you multiple times, and it's kind of like I'm sitting between you on the couch and we're all watching a Justice League episode.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
I really enjoy it.
I will say it just, you may think GHL gets goofy. We get way goofier.
Look, come for the Justice League, stay for the sound effects. That's all I'm saying.
There's only ever one sound effect. You'll get that joke if you listen to it. So anyways, thank you for listening to Geek History Lesson. We hope you stick through this episode. And if you like this episode of Jason and Jeremy John about Justice League, we hope you consider going over to patreon.com/Jawiin and listening and becoming a Justice Leaguer member. We do listener questions. We do all kinds of things.
You do extra episodes?
We sometimes do bonus episodes, not as many as we used to, but there is one of those we're thinking about. We're thinking about pulling a Justice League writer from the cartoon onto the show.
What?
And you'll only be able to hear that episode if you come on over. So come on over, enjoy this episode, a little sneak peek, a little taste of Fury, Justice League episode Fury, Season 1, Episode 16. And then maybe you'll come over to the Patreon and check out Episode 17. Anyways, please enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to Jason and Jeremy John about Justice League. I'm Jason.
And I'm Jeremy.
This is the podcast where two friends who are also nerds talk about each episode of Justice League, the animated series. We give you our thoughts, our insights, lots of nerdy tangents, and only one sound effect. Oh, actually, there's two. Oh my God, there's two. Oh no, we broke it.
It's all lies. If you've been here before, you know it's all lies, people.
Yeah, and that's why we have not a nerdy tangents about a cartoon about DC superheroes. If you want to support this podcast, some quick questions to us answer in the air, head on over to patreon.com/Jawiin.
Did I take the wind out of your sails that hard?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine, Jeremy.
I'm sorry. I didn't want to start off on that note, Jason.
Doesn't matter. What's today's episode?
Today's episode is Fury Part 1.
It's very appropriate.
Thank you. I tried to lean into it.
Sure.
It originally aired April 7th, 2002. The Justice League must battle a fanatical Amazon scheming to kill all the men in the world. Once again, the synopsis is a spoiler. Sorry.
Oh, well, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. All right. Now, before we get into the main episode, we have to answer some questions from the Super Friends. Now, these are some questions that we got from our Patreons over at, they're actually patrons, over at patreon.com. slash Jawiin. And the first question is Dr. Jerry Tolbert, the creator of...
Nerd Factor.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Sound effects going to be all over the place today, people. Dr. Jerry Tolbert asks, what's your ideal Injustice Gang lineup? And I loved this question because we sort of did this very early on in the podcast.
A little bit.
I think episode 1 or 2 or 3 or somewhere in there, we kind of talked about what we would have thought our ideal animated Justice League lineup was. And I think you and I kind of just added Aquaman. That's all the only big change we made.
Yeah.
The Injustice Gang is all over the place. There was the Grant Morrison Injustice Gang that was basically 1-for-1 with the Justice League. There have been Injustice Gangs that are basically like all the villains from the Super Friends. So the Injustice Gang, the lineup can be kind of loopy here. Jeremy, let's ask about this. And we talked about this a little bit the last time Injustice Gang came along as well. Who do you want to see in your numero uno Injustice Gang?
Well, I'm a big fan of the 1-to-1.
Okay.
So there's going to be 7. If we're doing it for this show, there's going to be 7, basically.
All right, done.
And I would be more stringent about them each actually corresponding and being a true rogue for each of the other people.
Yeah, see, I know when in the previous episode, we kind of were trying to come up with the 1-to-1s, and we found that some of them were like quite off. Like we couldn't figure out which villain was supposed to be for which hero or the equal of. Yeah. All right. So, like, who would you put on the animated Justice League or Injustice Gang?
So
that's
I
not
would
on here.
I would try to find a way to bring back the Imperium to be a Martian Manhunter villain.
I don't remember. Oh, the Imperium, the
first episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Try to find a way to bring that Central Intelligence back or whatever, and give him a robot body or something. You know what I mean?
It's imperialist.
No, it's Imperiex, isn't it?
Or
Imperiex is from the comics.
Imperiex is that Galactus-like Superman villain.
Yeah.
But like I'm giving out a bad pitch for.
For the title of it. Yeah.
Yeah, you called it Imperialist. That's the singular entity.
That is good. Yes.
That they're so infuriated by the contact of John Jones that they separated from the collective to come after him.
We're going with that. Boom. You did it. The Imperialist. That's John Jones' new villain. We have one original one, so we can steal the other ones from comics.
Okay.
At least.
All right, so that's John's. Okay, who would you want to match for Flash?
I don't want another speedster. Like, you think you want another speedster, but I don't actually want one. I gotta go with Cold, man.
Oh, Captain Cold. See,
classic.
Yeah, I know you're a big fan of Captain Cold.
I am.
I love Mirror Master.
Yeah.
As his equal in the Injustice Gang. That's what the one choice that I thought Grant Morrison made excellently when he created his Injustice Gang.
I think that Mirror Master is a much more useful member of a Injustice Gang.
Yes.
In terms of what role he can serve for that team. Absolutely. Yes. But on preference, I'm going Captain Cold.
Okay, let's go for John Stewart Green Lantern then.
I mean, like, fatality, I guess, right?
Yeah, if you can. Well, we've already taken another of those things from Fatality was originally a Kyle Rayner villain that became a John Stewart villain, but that makes sense. I don't mind that because, like, yeah, Star Sapphire. Although I don't mind Star Sapphire being here either because I get, I've always gotten the impression that the animated DC universe is a little bit younger than the comic universe.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that, like, maybe this Star Sapphire doesn't have a relation with Hal Jordan. I actually don't even.
I don't think she does. Actually, I think this episode kind of goes out of its way to disassociate her from the Green Lanterns a little bit. I was going to talk about that later in the episode.
Oh, you know what? In my opinion, the Star Sapphire that they've shown us in this series, I kind of think she's not even Carol Ferris.
I don't think she is either. No. And I don't think that she gets her powers the same way even.
No, because she uses them quite differently. Yeah.
Yes.
But that's fine. There have been other Star Sapphires. Okay, so yeah, I'm fine with that. Star Sapphire or Fatality. Wonder Woman then. I love Arigia. I will say we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but the Injustice Gang counterpoint that they introduced in this episode, I would turn a character that I've always liked. I would make it Artemis, who was the ginger Wonder Woman in the 90s.
Yes.
And just turn her evil.
That's a good idea, actually.
The thing that this episode proved to me, and I think it's the genius of the writers of this episode, is that I was like, oh yeah, like Wonder Woman's her most interesting when she's fighting another Amazon. And to be honest with you, it popped into my head today where I was like, man, Wonder Woman 3 has to be an Amazon versus an Amazon. It has to be if they just give us like her against another dude, like I don't like it. It has to make her personally confront all the reasons she left, which is the other thing we're going to be talking about in this episode. So are you fine with Artemis?
Yeah. Let's go with Artemis.
Okay. Who is your Batman opposite? Because the easy choice is Joker.
The easy choice is Joker. Like, I'll go ahead and slot that in there for now. Do you have anybody better that comes to mind immediately? Ooh, you know what this team could use? A Deathstroke.
That's fair. Okay, yeah, and you could hire him to be a part of this.
Yeah.
So then is Superman your Lex Luthor? Because there's nobody except for Solomon. I think Solomon Grundy is supposed to be the Superman counterpart here.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go a strong man.
Yeah, some sort of big bruiser.
And then
type.
I would be fine with the Artemis person leading the team. You know, or they're being bankrolled by somebody else. They're being bankrolled by Lex Luthor. He's not an active part of the team. He's just the money.
He's the one that put them together or whatever.
Put all their money in the bank account. Gave them all Bitcoin. Deathstroke only works for Bitcoin. I don't know if you guys knew that. He only works for Dogecoin. And they're like, Slade, you're like 50. He's like, I just like the dog. All right, so
he's only getting paid in Ethereum. He feels like an Ethereum guy.
You're probably right about that. So
what about Hot Girl?
Oh yeah, Hot Girl. I forgot about her. Oh yeah. I mean, Shade is sort of a good choice, but Shade's Shade's not a bad choice for Hot Girl.
Yeah.
Shade's also a pretty good counterpart to the Flash as well. Can I just say the Shade?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's just
I mean, there's not a lot of great options, really.
No, not really. All right, cool. Did we get them all?
I think so.
All right, let's call it good. That's good enough for government work, as they would say. Our next question comes from Ramon Fernandez Airazagoitia. I don't know, Ramon, whether I pronounce your name right or wrong every time, but I apologize either way. How do you feel about these episodes connecting to previous JLA stories in Justice League and Paradise Lost? Jeremy, I'm going to take this one. Ramon, yeah. I love it. I love it. This is my favorite type of continuity storyline, or storytelling, excuse me. I love when there is a slight serialized storyline through an episodic television show. I know, and everybody's like, oh, I want it to be serialized, but I think we've gone too far serialized. Yeah. I think we've gone so far serialized in terms of storytelling that I think it is impossible to see character arcs. It's impossible to see. We all love stories for the rise and fall. And I think in serialized storytelling, you have to wait 5 episodes to get the rise. And then you have to wait 5 episodes to get the fall. And to be honest with you, I think it's diminishing returns. And I think if we have like Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Babylon 5, Person of Interest, there's Justified, are all these shows that have an episodic storytelling nature. But there are through lines. The story of Raylan's dad goes through like the entire series. Deep Space Nine, we're always dealing with the wormhole aliens. Like we get little touches. Person of Interest, we're always dealing with the computer and how alive is it. So like when I saw the Injustice Gang again at the beginning of this episode, as we'll get to it, I was excited. I was like, oh, I'm happy to see them again. So Jeremy, what do you think, buddy?
I'm into it too. I'm going to come at it from a slightly different angle. I think it's weird that the production order, this is a thing affected by that because this aired before Paradise Lost.
So like if you would have
not Paradise Lost, Injustice.
Yeah. So if you would have seen this first, because there's like line that later comes up in the episode where I think the Shade goes better than Luthor, and you'd have no idea what the hell that meant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do these people even know each other? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do think that they work when they are seen in the order that they are supposed to be seen. And I agree with your point about the light serialization. I think most of the serialization in this show is character-based as opposed to plot-based.
Ding, ding. Yes, I was searching for that term, Jeremy. Thank you so much. Yeah, character-based serialization, I think, is my preference. Yeah. Instead of story serialization.
You want to talk about another show that did a really good job with that? Elementary.
Yeah.
Just never going to miss an opportunity to shout it out.
Another show, Angel.
Yes.
Angel is also a very light serialized show. Angel and Buffy. So those also did a really good job with it too. All right, cool. Now we're going to move into this week in Justice League history. Jeremy, what was the week?
It was April 7th, 2002.
What a week.
What a week. I think I told you last week that we were done with Ain't It Funny, the murder remix, but we're not. We have it 2 more weeks. Sorry. So that's still the #1 song. We do have a new #1 movie, though, and that was Panic Room.
Yes.
Jason, did you see Panic Room?
I did. Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
I believe it's a David Fincher movie, correct?
It is. Yes. And Kristen Stewart as Jodie Foster's daughter, young Kristen Stewart.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
And Dwight Yoakam, too.
Oh, Dwight Yoakam. Yeah, that's a man. I just think he's a good film look. Was Forrest Whitaker the villain of Panic Room?
Maybe. God, I don't remember.
Let's just go with that.
I'm gonna have to look it up in the background.
Oh, boy.
I can't. No, I
Well,
need to
that'll give me
know.
the perfect time for. Well, maybe not. Let's have Jeremy look it up in the background. We'll it's all right. All right.
Panic Room.
All right, Jeremy's clicking. This is everyone's favorite podcast segment.
Yes, whenever we're spending time on IMDb.
When people Google
Forrest Whitaker.
Haha. See, I was
You
right.
nailed it.
Aren't you glad we waited, everybody?
Yeah. Also, you know who else is in that movie? Jared Leto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Let's move into the next part of this podcast, Star Trek versus Justice League. Because this is originally going to be a Star Trek podcast, we thought we'd chat about the one topic everyone wants to hear about. Who had the better episode that week, Star Trek or Justice League? Jeremy, this week...
Tell me we had something.
We've been in a long break. I know we haven't had episodes. Well, we're in another break. This week, the Star Trek episode was nothing. Star Trek Enterprise is on another 2-week break. But I can, Jeremy, I don't know what we should do about it.
You know what? So actually, I might have a little bit of a surprise for you.
What? Okay, what's this?
We're going to play a game. Surprise segment.
Jeremy, what is this?
Just wait for it.
What?
That's right. Welcome to Preview.
What? Preview?
Preview is the game where I surprise you with one Star Trek trivia question.
Oh, dear God. I love
Don't worry about the title. It's called Preview because of the song.
Yeah, because this is all we can afford, right?
Preview. We got another one in there. All right, Jason, are you ready to play Preview?
I guess.
Yeah. All right.
What is happening?
Here's the rules of the game.
Oh, dear God.
I had time to look up one Star Trek trivia question.
All right.
And I'm going to ask it to you.
I'm going to fail this.
And that's what this segment's going to be. It's actually current events, kind of, in Star Trek, a little bit.
How is that possible? Star Trek's in the future.
Well, when I ask you, it's current events in terms of production, let's say,
Okay, all right.
and airing. It's a recent thing I'm going to ask you about.
All right.
Okay. As you might know, Jason, my favorite race on Star Trek are the Children of Tama, aka the Tamarians.
The Darmok and Jalad.
Yes.
Nagra,
Yes. Okay. There have been precisely 2 Tamarians named on Star Trek. One of them is Captain Dathon. Who is the other?
Well, the other one has got to be the guy that just showed up in Lower Decks.
But his name is...
He's Lieutenant something. Kilahad?
You know, he kind of looks like Kilowog a little bit, actually.
I'm just going out there. What's his name?
Lieutenant Junior Grade Kayshawn.
I had the K. Holy
You
cow.
did. You were pretty close. You were closer to that than I thought you were going to be.
Lieutenant Kayshawn. Yeah, because he's the one that gets turned into the puppet. Spoilers for Star Trek Lower Decks. So this has been... What was this called again?
This was called Preview because that's the name of the song.
Okay. Wow. All right, listeners.
We needed something to do in this Star Trek gap. It's been going on too long.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Surprise segment.
That is definitely a surprise segment. I'll tell you that. I did not see any of that in the song coming either. I did not. All right.
Put that together very last minute if you can't tell.
Yeah. I don't think anybody can tell. But I'll tell you what. Let's get to Who's Who in the DCAU, Jeremy. Basically the episode credits.
Episode credits. That's right. So this
Very part
episode was directed by Butch Lukic, and it was written, the story, by Stan Berkowitz, with the teleplay by Dwayne McDuffie once again.
Have I explained yet the difference between story and teleplay?
Not to the audience, I don't believe. Go for it.
Okay. Well, in case I've said this before, I apologize. So the story means that Stan Bergowitz wrote the story doc, which is usually the 1 or 2 page synopsis that you turn into the network. And teleplay means that Dwayne McDuffie was the one that actually typed the script. So
Yes.
he took that story doc and then expanded on it. So his name was on the script. Stan's was on the story doc. So that's the difference between those credits.
How's that work out in terms of pay most of the time, you know?
Well, you obviously get paid more for the script.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you what animation pay is all over the place. That's actually a thing. The weird fact, animation writers are not part of the Writers Guild of America.
Really?
Nope. They're like the one industry that is for some reason not in the Writers Guild. And because
Do they have their own separate guild?
they do, but it's not as good. And I will say, you want to know the worst paid writers in all of Hollywood, professional writers, animation writers. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's disheartening.
It is. Because, cartoons are usually you usually go into cartoons for like the passion and the love, right? And you're like, we should reward that. But it doesn't happen. It's because $1 million executives believe that animation is lesser than live action. Like most people. But we don't believe that here. That's why we're talking about a cartoon.
No, that's why we have this podcast in the first place.
That's right. Who's the cast of this awesome cartoon?
Maria Canals-Barrera as Hot Girl, Kevin Conroy as Batman, Susan Eisenberg as Wonder Woman, Phil LaMarr as Green Lantern, Carl Lumbly as John Jones, George Newbern as Superman, Michael Rosenbaum as The Flash, Julie Bowen as Aresia, Susan Sullivan as Hippolyta, Olivia Dabo as Star Sapphire. Jason, you know who Olivia Dabo is?
I do not.
She's the original Dabo girl.
Is that why it's named Dabo?
No, I'm just making a Star Trek joke.
I was like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
No, she's actress.
Look,
she's cool.
I will tell people this. I know Mr. Ira Stephen Bear. I got to know him last year and through the last couple of years. The executive producer of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and that is something he would do. He would do that. Knowing the amazing Ira, he would do that. So you had me going. Good job.
I'm glad it was believable.
Yep. I'll give you one of these. There you go.
Yeah, right. Mark Hamill as Solomon Grundy, Karen Maruyama as Sakuri, Stephen McHattie as The Shade, Jose Yenke as Copperhead, Julianne Grossman as Philippus, who we're going to talk about today, Vanessa Marshall as the lipstick lady / paramedic, and Maggie Wheeler as Antiope / the firefighter.
Lipstick lady. What a credit. Okay. And we have a spotlight on a woman that we're going to hear in a clip right now.
Yeah.
Wait! I'm a friend of... Whoa! No one escapes from Amazonian justice.
Was that her?
Yes, no one escapes from Amazonian justice. That was Julianne Grossman. Her career in voice work actually started right here on this show with that line.
What?
Yeah, this was like her first role.
Oh, I thought you meant our podcast. I thought you said our podcasts are big. Right?
We gave her start.
I literally thought that's what you said. I was like, what happened to this woman?
Sorry, I meant Justice League as the show.
Okay.
She would go on to appear on the Zeta Project, of course, surprising no one. She did a lot of video game work outside of her other DC work, which includes performances as Etta Candy in the wonderful 2009 Wonder Woman movie, which I don't know if you've ever seen that, audience. I know Jason has, but might be my favorite Wonder Woman thing ever.
I think I said for a long time before they made the live action film that they should just remake. They should take the script from that film. It's God, it
has one of the best openings I've ever seen in a movie.
Russell
period
is Wonder Woman and Nathan Fillion is
Steve Trevor.
It has the really tasteless joke, but it's actually kind of funny in the idea of the truth lasso where he's like, man, she's got a nice rack, which you're just like, without the context of the lasso of truth, that would be a very offensive joke.
Yes.
But when you think about obviously he's surrounded by these supermodel women. That could also break him in half. No, that's a great film. I think you and I watched that together for the first time.
We probably did, based on when it came out, I bet. She was also Big Barda in Superman, Batman, Apocalypse.
Nice.
And she played Queen Hippolyta in Justice League Action and across the DC Superhero Girls series.
Whoa.
So she is like the Hippolyta currently.
Mm-hmm.
But more recently than that, Jason, she has been the voice of a certain Spore Drive-enabled spaceship's computer.
Yes, the Battlestar Galactica.
Close. Did they use the Spore Drive? Is that how the jump drive worked in Battlestar?
Who knows, man? Like Cylon.
Cylons were pissed about the way we were treating the mycelial network. That's what they were mad about.
That's what started the war. You're correct. You're correct. You're very correct.
But no, she is the voice of the USS Discovery.
On Star Trek Discovery. Wow.
Yeah, and you just heard her first ever voice work. So,
wow, that's really cool. So this got her start. So obviously she must have loved it. She must have enjoyed it. That's really awesome.
Yeah. So.
It's also just continually surprises me how much connection these two shows have.
Yeah, there really is a lot of overlap for some reason.
Yeah, there's a weird Venn diagram. And again, like I know at this point in the podcast, you're either with us on this or you're against us, that like we keep bringing up Star Trek. But like, I think the reason we keep bringing up Star Trek is because the show keeps connecting to Star Trek in weird ways.
Yeah. I'm not going out and looking for these either. No. You know, I'm just looking for interesting, like IMDb pages out of people. Star Trek keeps coming up.
He's just taking 5 minutes. Googling, not a lot of work, just a lot of little work, not a lot.
It's like 15, 20 maybe.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get to the main episode discussion, the mission briefing.
Yes, finally.
All right. Where does this episode kick off?
We kick off in Gotham at a biotech lab.
Okay.
Where we see a new Injustice gang is stealing something.
All right. So
and you wanted to play a clip from this part, right?
I do. But let's talk about, so it's Copperhead, who was in the original one. It was Shade, who was in the original Solomon Grundy. It's Star Sapphire. But then we get this ninja to
Sakuri.
Sakuri?
Yes.
Sakuri. Now, she looks like Katana.
She does.
She acts like Katana.
Yes.
She sounds like Katana, but she's not Katana.
She's not Katana.
And
she is a combination of Katana and Lady Shiva was the inspiration for that character, according to the writers.
Lady Shiva, in case everybody doesn't know, is the mother of Cassandra Cain, the second Batgirl.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to talk about this, Jeremy, because to me, this must have been a weird thing where like Warner Brothers wouldn't let them use Katana, or they would have thought that Katana was like too, it's similar to like the reason why we have Jon Stewart instead of Hal Jordan, or all these other characters. But what a weird choice that this is like. I don't know what the story is, but again, like my gut tells me that it was maybe Warner Brothers or Cartoon Network thinking that Katana was too violent.
I would think it would have to be something like that, because otherwise, what were your plans for that character? Where was the Katana TV show from the early 2000s that kept her from being used here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's in nothing else at this point.
Yeah, she's not a popular character, I would say even.
No, not at all.
Not even now.
Not even now. Not even now. But yes, so, after we meet these new Injustice Gang people, we get to meet a very, very flirty Amazon.
Well done, Copperhead. Grundy, be a dear and get the door.
Okay.
She's so nice.
She's so nice. And you know what else? She's supportive too.
Yes.
I was going to talk about this a little bit later in the episode, but this is a great place to bring it up. She's a much better leader of this team than Lex Luthor is.
Yes, she is.
Even though she is planning on killing half of the team indiscriminately, she's still a better leader than he is. She clearly cares about these people on some level, or at least is going to create a pleasant work environment to accomplish everything the team needs to accomplish.
It's also interesting now that I know that this character is voiced by Julie Bowen, who was Jack's wife on Lost, and she was the main paramour of the NBC series Ed, starring
yes, she was.
I think I've always had a weird TV crush on Julie Bowen.
Yeah. If you watched Ed, it was impossible to not have a crush on Julie Bowen.
The entire show was based around, But fun fact, I was helping Ashley on a writing project a ways back, and she was writing something, and I kept saying you need to see Ed, the NBC show, because it's very similar to what you're working on. And
too bad it's not streaming anywhere.
So that's what we found. It's not streaming anywhere. They only released it in DVDs, and the DVDs are so out of print that they are $1,000 on. But But thank God for YouTube, because somebody uploaded like the entire first season of Ed. They only did the first season at VHS quality straight up to YouTube. So we were able to watch the pilot of Ed. And it's the only time
I'm so glad you told me that.
I will be thankful for Ed.
I'm going to go watch the pilot of Ed again. I haven't seen that in years.
It's a trip, man. And also, like, fun fact, we're getting to this. Should maybe be the Ed NBC television conversation. There are 2 pilots for Ed.
Yes, I've actually seen both of them.
Yes, and the first one they never released, so you can only see it on YouTube. And the first one is like how he loses his job, and it ends with him driving into the town.
Yeah.
And then the second episode, they were just like, this takes too long. And so they just started with this thing where they're just like, yeah, he bought a bowling alley. He saw the girl. He did this off camera.
It's like they took the whole first episode and made it a montage in the first 30 seconds of the second pilot. Like, yeah.
And like, you're like, man, I can't believe that this show lasted for 4 seasons when like literally they just dropped the audience in the deep end and we're just like, yeah, figure it out. We don't care.
Somebody looked at it and said, oh, we need to get in late.
we need to get in way late. Like, this would be the point where like somebody, that note. So like you're telling the story of Ed's life, right? You're in this executive meeting and the executive gives you the note that you just said. Executive, please give me that note.
Get in later.
Okay. So the funeral?
Later.
Ed's funeral?
No, earlier.
Oh, okay. He's in the old people home.
Slightly earlier.
Okay, so he just signed up for the old people home.
There it is.
Okay, got it. Like you're like, wow. Like we just.
I had a film professor like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
You might have too.
If you want to say names, I don't care.
No, I don't.
Okay, well,
it's all right.
Good for you being.
We can talk about it later.
Well, we got to get back to talking about the Injustice Gang because Batman shows up. He tries to stop them.
He almost does.
He gets pretty close, right? He takes almost all of them down. Although I gotta say, first of all, when I was watching this episode, I don't remember a damn thing about this episode. I've completely. I didn't even know that there was a sort of evil Amazonian episode. I was completely surprised by that. I actually was like genuinely surprised when I saw the Injustice Gang again. I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize they came back this quick. And when Batman is taking down the Injustice Gang, Star Sapphire is just shooting her little laser pew pew pews up into the sky. And she doesn't notice this giant mirror that Batman's on top of that's just in the hallway.
He's clearly going to use it against you.
Yes. Yes. He is literally just standing there. And like, I really wanted a moment where she just stood there and was just like, you think I can't see that? And he's like, what? No, you're on top of ignore the mirror. No, I'm not going to fire. Well, I'm not going to move. Well, then, okay. It's like 10 minutes later, they're still just like staring at each other. I have to go to the bathroom. I don't care. You better get out,
I'm still not going to shoot that mirror.
Yeah, exactly. I could exactly tell. But I will say, man, like I loved it when they gave Julie Bowen a line in this teaser that Wonder Woman had said earlier in one of the episodes where she says, I bow to no man. And I was like, oh, that is the perfect, like, I think this is a great teaser. And I think, to me, I think even if you're not as steeped in DC Comics lore like you and I am, I think that is just enough that you'd be like, oh, is that an Amazon? Like, yeah, is that an Amazon? Because we've also visited Paradise Island a couple of times in the show. It's not unfamiliar to us as viewers.
Yeah.
I mean,
you should be able to pick it up from context clues. Yes.
Yeah. Like, and I even thought the idea of like giving Batman the small little win of grabbing the necklace. I was 100% off of this when I was like, this might be the best teaser we've seen.
I like how they actually animate him grabbing the necklace too. It would be so easy to just show him with it later on, but you can actually catch it very, very quickly in the playback too.
Yes.
It's a nice little detail.
Yes. And then we go to the opening credits. Let's hum the theme, Jeremy. Dun, 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 dun. No.
Oh, all right. I was ready.
You want to try it?
No, it's all right.
Do it.
We'll save that for later on whenever we run out of stuff to talk about in a future episode.
Yeah, I think we should just
get to humming the theme song eventually.
Yeah, that's when you know this podcast has really gone downhill. If I'm just like, hey, Jeremy, let's sing HMS Pinafore. Let's go. Okay, so we open on Wonder Woman in a store. She's in a department store. And I believe
she's in a Bergdorf's.
Okay, is that an Easter egg?
It's from Batman the Animated Series.
Is it really?
It's from Holiday Nights. It's the store that Harley and Ivy run amok in.
Wow, good
right?
pull.
Am I remembering that right? I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
I have no idea, man. That's why I was like, I figured they lingered on it a little bit too much for it to not be an actual thing.
It is a callback one way or another. I just might be getting the where of it wrong.
Okay, so she's, it's basically like it's a fish out of water scene. It's Wonder Woman walking around and she's like, I don't know. Why would you put makeup on your face? Anyways, I have to ask you, Jeremy, we've talked about this several times about what is the timeline of the show? I believe in one of the previous episodes, they said it had been 8 months since the pilot that when Wonder Woman went back to Paradise Island or Themyscira in the previous episode, that she had not been home for 8 months.
Yeah. We're definitely over a year by now.
Yes, exactly. I'm kind of getting the impression, and that's fine with me. They're giving the impression, and I'd never realized this because I had never watched the show as closely as this, that each episode, that the next time we see the Justice League, it's been about a month. Like it's almost been 30 days since we've seen it, which is interesting because
that is kind of how it seems. Yeah.
It kind of gives these episodes a sort of monthly comic issue feel. Like it allows them, all of these people to sort of, they can all have their solo adventures. And then and then about once a month they get, there's a mission big enough for all of them.
Yeah.
And what do you think? Okay. So I want to get to the conversation of, I think at this point in the character's journey, Wonder Woman is over this fish out of water stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say.
Okay.
Like, I love the fact that it gives us this structure where they are having their own adventures in time and doing things in their downtime separately. But exactly that. She should have gotten over some of this right now. Like, this is her first department store in like a year.
Yeah. Like,
over a year or whatever.
It's not like Wonder Woman experienced the pandemic and went away for a year and was only on Zoom, which would be like all of us when we go back to the store. But I think Wonder Woman gets over this by the 6-month mark.
Yeah, you would think so.
I think at this point also Wonder Woman would probably be working a job because where is she living?
Well, and we're going to see her as like an ambassador in like 3 years time.
Yeah.
Too. So it seems weird that like
she could be staying on the
can't have a social interaction with anybody without being awkward after a year.
Well, let's put this out there. Do we think this version of Wonder Woman lives on the Watchtower?
Probably, right?
Right? Because otherwise, that would sort of explain this.
And she just never gets out.
Or she barely gets out.
Yeah.
Maybe she goes out for as much as she can stand, and then she's like, oh, it's too overwhelming. McDonald's, and runs back.
Well, it's because the ice cream machine's always broken. If she ever got to taste ice cream, she'd loosen up immediately.
My friend,
Themyscirans love ice cream. It's proven.
And that is a genius scene. But I will tell you this, that anybody that has ever worked a restaurant, and you know this, Jeremy,
yes.
Those machines are not cleaned the best. So I love me some soft serve, but I also am like, I try to make it a very, very special treat because, it's like those machines, man. You don't know what's been in there. They don't clean them that well. So back me up, restaurant workers. So there is a funny moment in this. She gets out of the store, right? She goes the alleyway. Is this before? Your clip. We need to play this.
No,
clip.
the clip is different. Talk about what you're going to talk about first.
Okay. Well, I was going to say that she hears Batman's voice. And
yes.
Okay. So let's play your clip first and then let's talk about Batman. All right, here we go. So here is a clip that Jeremy wanted to feature on the show.
Next time, mind your manners.
Wonder Woman.
Okay, that was it.
Okay.
Do you know why I had you play that?
Okay, it might be what I want to talk about. I hope it is. Let's go.
That's the first time she's referred to as Wonder Woman in this show.
Oh, interesting. That is a momentous moment.
Yes, like nobody. I'm not saying nobody has ever never used the words Wonder Woman in this show, but it's the first time anybody has called her Wonder Woman. They always call her Diana.
Well, Jeremy, this sort of works perfectly into my conversation because I wanted to ask, how the hell did Batman project his voice that far down that alleyway? He's so far away.
Well, he's always appearing out of alleyways. Like that's standard operating procedure for him. He knows how far he needs to project his voice because he's always coming out of shadows.
Look, I'm calling the audio engineers on this one because Batman's voice makes it sound like he's literally right next to her. And when they do the reverse angle, he's like 50 feet away.
Are you telling me Batman can't throw his voice?
No,
come on. Of course he can.
I believe he can. But also, I'm just like, damn. Like, I'm like, he had to project his voice so far.
Well, realistically, he was trained by the best voice thrower in the world, which makes him the second best voice thrower in the world.
Well, we all know that Superman has super ventriloquism, so that's who talks.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
though.
remember? And he can sound. And we've in this animated universe, they have made it canon that Superman can automatically sound like anybody else in the world. Because we've seen it before.
Yes, he's got super vocal cords. That's right.
By the way, that's a great episode that's called Nighttime. It's part of, I believe, it's the Superman animated series, and it's where Superman goes to Gotham because Batman is missing, and he teams up with Tim Drake the whole episode, and he has to pretend to be Batman.
Yes,
it's actually like
it's a really good episode.
It's a really good episode. Like because like all the like Bane when Bane punches Batman, he's like but he sounds like Batman the entire time. So
yeah.
We have, So, okay, let's say Superman taught him. I'll see. Jeremy fixed it. There we go. All right. So, Jeremy, we get to a Batman Wonder Woman rooftop chat, correct?
Yeah. So basically, he just shows her the necklace and, it's like, it asks her if she thinks it's possible an Amazon did this. And she's like, no, Amazons never leave the island. He's like, never, huh? And then she gives him a look that would melt steel. Yes. Did you notice that?
It was a good animation. This is a great scene. This is a great
It is really good animation. I wonder if that was intentional, though, because that was such a fiery look. It seemed more intense than that comment deserved, honestly. But
let's talk about this as well. Why do you think Wonder Woman dismisses it so easily? Why do you? She's like immediately being like, there is no way an Amazon has left that island.
Yeah, I think she, what does that say about her though? I mean, she lives her life by these ideals, So if they're out here doing bad, what does that say about her at the end of the day?
They already excommunicated her too in this universe.
Yeah, but she still lives up to her own standards, though.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I think so, at least.
Yeah. Okay. So. Then we get this plan where the Injustice gang, right? They're going to plan a gem heist.
Yeah. Which they stole a chemical in the first scene. Mm-hmm. It kind of looked like a plant to me, but then later on they say, are we stealing more chemicals? Mm-hmm. But she tells them they're, robbing the gem depository and that she's going to take care of the Justice League, which, to be fair, she does. She actually does everything she says she's going to do. Her plan goes almost perfectly throughout this entire two-parter.
Yeah, but before we get to this though, we've missed the part where like Batman, which I think is a really smart, the spy mission. Next is the spy. There's a spy mission on Paradise Island.
After we see them planning this heist, we cut to Hawkgirl flying to Themyscira. Mm-hmm. Which yes, she was clearly sent there by Batman because Batman can't go and Diana can't go, so. There's pretty much only one option,
and that's where we get the amazing. That's where we get the amazing Julianne Grossman starting her career.
Yes, that is right.
I just think it's a smart plan. The spy mission on Paradise Island. I think it's smart writing. It's really cool. I want to talk about here. So there's a line that comes back in when later in the episode where they're talking about Aresia, and Hippolyta says the line, "And we imbued Aresia with Amazonian strength." So, Jeremy, I want to talk to you about, generally, the Amazonians aren't super strong. They're generally do not have, they're kind of like, they're a little bit like Captain America, where they're like a little bit stronger than the humans, but they're still humans. And it's the idea that Diana is the invulnerable, super strong one. But like here, it makes it seem like all the Amazonians are like super strong, but it also is made clear in this two-parter that Diana is like the only Amazonian that can fly.
Absolutely, yes.
So what do you think about, like, what are your preferred Amazonians? Powers, no powers? Where do you want to see them on the power scale? And
I feel like they should be stronger than normal humans.
Okay.
Like more durable too, on top of that, but not to a quote unquote superhuman level.
Yeah. Interesting. So
I think Steve Rogers is probably like the max level of strength.
Do you like how powerful they make them in the show?
Yeah, I think it works because we don't really see anything too much more impressive than throwing a boulder, but that is really cool though. She does just chuck a boulder straight at Hawkgirl. Yeah,
it's pretty big. Okay, so the gem heist happens. And Regia goes into the store, and I gotta...
Hang on, though. We need to talk about, though, real quick, just how effective the Amazons are at capturing Hawkgirl.
I think...
Like, they are 100% ready for her, despite not being ready for her at all.
Besides her being a giant hawk woman.
Yeah.
Like
But somebody was up on that ridge with a net immediately.
Yeah.
Like that's teamwork. Say what you want about the Amazons, but they're on their shit, and I appreciate that about them.
Well, if you look at that giant CGI wheelie thing that they had to climb up during the Olympics in Wonder Woman 1984, which is just not physically possible, they can do some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it's
Apparently.
impressive.
Apparently, they're better than Cirque du Soleil. So
That's that Amazonian training for you.
Yep, that's right. So I want to talk about the gem heist happens, and it's basically only Aregia, and Aregia like just walks into the gem store and like leaves a message for the Justice League.
She sends the rest of the gang to go in and actually steal the gems, and she tells them, "I'm going to go take care of the cameras," which is a lie because she just tears the doors off and walks up to the nearest camera and is like, "Hey, Justice League, come get me! I dare you." Which like also to why does the Justice League show up to that? I mean, I guess what's your other option? But it's like, you're about to walk into a trap.
Look, the Watchtower.
Nobody has ever been like, "I dare you."
The Watchtower definitely has a phone.
Yeah.
I guarantee you it has a number. She could have just called them. This plan tells me that she thinks the Justice League monitor every private store security feed in the world at all times.
Yeah. Or she's at least expecting the gem depository management to forward the message along for her. Which, like, I wouldn't know how to get in touch with the Justice League if that happened to me. If I'm the manager of a gym, like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Dial 9 if you
call
want to
911, I guess.
Dial 9 if you want to speak to Superman. Dial 8 if you want to speak to Batman. Your wait time is 17 days. Would you like to stay on the line?
And then you finally get through. This voicemail box is full.
Yeah, you get where it hangs up on you, and it's just like it's just like holding music of just little guitar music in there, just going,
just
like,
playing on a loop forever.
Yeah, and you're just like, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? What am I doing? I'm on the phone with the Justice League.
How did I get on Jason and Ashley's Excellent Adventures?
I could have made so many better choices in my life, and I don't know what led me here. And you look out the window, and you think about, maybe I should get a cat, maybe I should get a dog, maybe I should move to Salt Lake. I don't know. There's options out there for all of us.
Move to Philadelphia, start a noisecore band.
Yeah, sometimes I just want to, go to Chicago and start a ska tribute band. Maybe that's something I should do.
Sometimes I just want to get in a car and just start driving west as far as I can drive.
Yeah, just straight off of the cliff. Even if that happens, just maybe you could try and explore if your car could be like that Muppets car in the Muppets by Jason Segel.
You got to believe.
Yeah, you got to push it out there. And then they hang up on you.
What just happened? For real. What was any of that about?
I think that might be the best bit we've ever done.
This is quite the app.
Well, Jeremy, I hate to give this away too early in the episode, but I also we'll just settle this right here. I almost texted you after I watched this episode because I really enjoyed this episode. And
I do too.
I really enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed both of them actually. And I was like so into it that like immediately I was like, oh, this is going to be a good, like when the episodes are excellent, I think our podcasts are better. And it feeds into it because just like, man, they're firing all cylinders here. And so we should be as well with our comedy and our goof off moments.
One would hope.
Yes. So I don't remember exactly. Superman is the first one to show up because he gives a moment. Doesn't he say like a classic Superman line to her or something like that? Or like, you're not going anywhere for justice.
Something like that. Yeah.
And she turns around and she's like, oh, wearing your underwear on the outside, huh? So we Amazonians don't believe in underwear. I don't know. But she kicks his ass.
Yeah.
She trounces him.
Yeah, he says, you're a lot stronger than you look, right after she throws him into a wall so hard he leaves a Superman-shaped imprint on it.
That's I love that. I love that when it happens in animation.
Yeah.
Has a movie ever tried, besides The Mask, has like an actual like superhero movie done? Nothing. Nobody has really done anything like that. Tried it in live action.
There's got to be some example of somebody leaving a rough human shape.
It might be too goofy.
Something.
It might not work in live action. But you would think it'd be something like a Shazam movie would have done.
Yeah. Or like maybe there's something like that somewhere buried in Scott Pilgrim.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, as the Injustice gang is escaping, I wrote out a note where the cops are just like firing so many bullets into the air.
Yeah, just wildly.
I'm just like, oh my God, friendly fire, guys. But I also love that, like, we get this really great moment where Arisia jumps out of the building, or basically running the alleyway. She lands right in front of Diana, and Diana immediately knows who she is.
Yeah,
which makes sense.
They both do. They're shocked to see each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you think, oh, okay, so then we will later learn in Arisia's origin that she was in a tower by herself. Do you think she's been in that tower for as long as she didn't know Diana? No. Either.
Hippolyta says she's been in there for a few weeks.
Oh, so then she would know Diana left.
Exactly. But I just don't think she was expecting to see her. And knowing Diana left doesn't mean she necessarily knows what Diana's up to. Well, no, she should because of Paradise Lost, though.
Well, and Diana was excommunicated from the Amazons. And
but everybody would know about that event, though, because everyone on that island got turned to stone.
That's fair. Oh,
so
interesting.
Yeah, I think you might have just found a little gap in that story there.
Interesting. Jason gapped it. I don't know. This segment's called Preview. To be honest with you, I think, if we need future theme song, I'm just going to go to Pond 5 or whatever. I think we, this is copywriting Jason and Jeremy, John About Justice League right now, the podcast Preview, where all we do is play preview sound clips and judge them.
Royalty free, baby.
Okay.
But before Wonder Woman and Arisia actually meet up,
yes,
she infects Superman.
Yes,
she throws this thing at Superman, and he gets really, really sick.
Which is an excellent.
I'm going to skip over that because that one little action actually infects the entire Justice League.
Yes, and he technically would be the Typhoid Mary. He'd be the first case
for them. Yeah. Now the other launch on the city is a separate incident, but the infection that spreads throughout the league in this episode is directly from Superman to the rest of them.
Yeah. And then we're back on Paradise Island for a bit. I might be skipping ahead a little bit.
Yeah. There's just one brief scene. Flash and Green Lantern show up, and Wonder Woman flies Superman up to the Watchtower so John can take a look at him, and Flash and Green Lantern go off to track Arisia, and they find the substance that was on Superman on the ground. John Stewart picks it up and rubs his fingers in it, almost like he doesn't have a highly advanced piece of alien technology capable of scanning stuff.
And we'd be like, boop, 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 boop. Yeah.
Also, shouldn't that ring, much like it should always be protecting you from impacts, shouldn't it always have like a biofilter? Aren't you in a hazmat suit kind of all the time?
Look, you would think, yes. We don't want to get too... I understand. Like, I agree with you, because you could poke so many holes in this, because it's the same as like Doctor Who, wherein the Doctor can't get to the TARDIS, or when every time the Enterprise's warp drive goes down. Yes. Just out of nowhere. And it's like, you do this because if you don't do it, the story can't happen.
Exactly.
So I'm willing to give them a pass. I will tell you this, and I want to talk about this because this is going to starts up a segment, because this happens multiple times this episode, where John Jones is the doctor of the Justice League. Like, he is the House MD for this episode. And to be honest with you, he is an alien? What does he know about human biology? Also, I didn't know he had a medical degree. As far as I knew in the comics, he's a cop.
He has been sitting in the Watchtower for over a year now, probably just studying.
So you're saying that John...
I don't think he gets out either.
You think John Jones has a medical degree then?
Well, I think every person on this team is socially maladjusted one way or another.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting. Okay.
To an extent. I mean, less so like Superman, but almost everybody else is.
I mean, you're probably correct. But
you're right though about John Stewart. Like, I'm being really generous for why he can do all of that. Yeah.
Well, it happens a lot, and so like I wanted to bring it up every single time because that kind of surprised me. But so after all that, Hippolyta gives Hot Girl Arisia's backstory, and there's this great moment Or Hippolyta's like, she said this line, she says, have my horse ready. And I thought it was immediately going to be like, I'm riding to Man's World or something like that. But what it did is have my horse ready. And then it cut to the next scene. Yeah. And it really, just was very weird. So apparently you find out that, and I think this is a great origin, that Arisia is also not an Amazon. So she is a war refugee, basically, that escaped their country. She got stuck on a refugee ship. The ship crashed over. She was the sole survivor. And, of course, she drifted to Themyscira, which is sort of a storyline the comics have done several times. But I also thought this was very smart from a writing standpoint because it allows them to have an evil Amazon that's not really an evil Amazon.
Yes.
She wasn't born an Amazonian. So, like, the Amazonian record is still pure and good.
Yeah, she was corrupted by Man's World before she ever set foot on Themyscira, basically.
Yeah. What did you think about Arisia's backstory / origin?
I think it's really good. I think it's very kid sanitized. I got the vibe watching it. Some of that stuff was coded to be more brutal than was depicted.
Well, it's a Cartoon Network show, so.
Yeah, which, absolutely. I'm not saying I wanted it to be more brutal, but I think they did a really good job of saying stuff without saying it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad to watch, actually.
I want to talk about, so Arisia was like going through her last sort of test to become a full Amazonian, to get all the full rights, to be able to vote and own property on Paradise Island. And they were like, go sit in this tower. And when you're done, you're done.
Yeah.
So
just contemplate your navel.
So I wanted you, Jeremy, I wanted to throw out pitch some excuses that we think Arisia gave the Amazon. So they come and talk. Arisia, are you ready? Are you ready to come back? Are you ready to come back to the mainland, the Paradise Island?
I'm only on the 3rd book of the Dark Tower.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see you in another 3 years.
3 years?
Those are thick, dense books.
But you got nothing else to do.
I know, but I still think there are some chapters in the Dark Tower that you're like, I got to go back and reread that. Did I even read that? What happened? Who's who? What? Okay. I don't know about you, but that was my. Look, I like the Dark Tower, but that was my. Anyways, so
it's very thick. You're right.
Yes, it's very thick. So we got back to the Watchtower, and the whole team is getting sick. It's like they've never experienced a pandemic before.
Yeah, no.
Or played the board game Pandemic, which actually pretty fun.
They handled this pretty poorly. Because John brings Flash in, is like, he's sick, and I'm sick too.
John. Yeah, it's basically he literally brings it there.
It's like he didn't notice that all of his veins turned purple.
Yes, it was also good because at this point I was a little bit like, wait a minute, how did she take down Superman? I was a little worried that taking down Superman was like magical because that's like my least favorite Superman. Yeah. It's my least favorite Superman.
Nerd factor
is magic. So I appreciate that it was something biological, but you also have to assume that if Arisia made it, it has to have some sort of magical element from Paradise Island or Themyscira.
I mean, I think it's the same thing that she's unleashing on the world. It's just from a smaller batch that she made.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's made this thing before. She just had to steal that amount of gems to produce enough to scatter it over the whole world.
Yes.
So it could have magic involved in it if you want it to. It's not super important for me personally, but I think it is just the same thing that she makes later.
What did you think about Hawk Girl and Hippolyta finding the secret case of books?
With the history of germ warfare. right on the top.
Well, and there's one moment where Hippolyta says, "There's like these are forbidden," and I literally thought she was talking about books, and I was like, "Ooh, what? I don't want to live in Themyscira. No books." But
just man's books.
Man's books, but you're leaving out. Come on. You gotta taste the other side of the rainbow. Like, come on.
I mean, is it that the whole point of this episode?
Fair. Is that the theme? You got to taste the other side of the rainbow.
Well, I mean, that's kind of. I mean, here. This is the crappy thing about this episode. At the end of the day, it is like a group of women getting together and being like, men aren't that bad. Which is kind of gross, really, considering it was like written and produced by a bunch of dudes too. You know,
Did Jeremy fix it?
Did I just ruin it for you?
I don't know. I don't know.
I like it though. I mean, it's all right.
Yeah, we're not even there. So we also got to talk about, so the whole league is affected. We know Regia's plan now. Regia's plan, like, does she tell?
No, she makes the chemical and releases the gas, and all the male dudes just collapse.
She smashes the rubies, and and that's why does every plan in comic books involve like rubies or diamonds? It's
like a special gem that mixes with the chemical.
Yeah. That's not correct.
It's just. Yeah, it's dumb and tropey.
We could also argue, would Solomon Grundy actually be affected? Because he's dead.
But he is masculine. And like, if there is a magical element of this, it's that part, I think.
Okay, so there you go. Because otherwise I was going to be like, no, he's necrotic, which means he's not even biological.
Yeah. But, it also affects John Jones eventually, too.
Oh, we're going to save that conversation. Don't even get me started there. So there is a great moment in this when they're flying back to Paradise Island with Batman has picked up Hawk Girl.
Which, like, was nice of him. I hope that he actually dropped her off before we saw her flying to Themyscira, too, because how far of a flight is that? Boy, are her wings tired?
Well, Paradise Island is somewhere in the Mediterranean. Because it's
so like Gotham to the Mediterranean.
Well, it'd be off the coast of Greece, right? Because they're Greek legends. So like it's somewhere in
across the Atlantic Ocean, basically.
Yeah. Well, but if Hawk Girl was coming from the Watchtower, if she flew from the Watchtower, I don't know if Hawk Girl
she didn't fly from the Watchtower. She was in space. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be a shorter trip.
But she can't do that though.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Yeah,
I bet Batman dropped her off.
I assume Batman dropped her off.
Yeah,
because I mean, those wings would be so tired, like that joke,
For real.
Yeah. But there's a great moment with her and Batman in the plane where it talks about like Regia being an orphan and being like what that would do to somebody, and you have the zoom in.
It's actually the first of a few times this show is going to do that.
Yes,
they're gonna have people talk to Batman about being an orphan, giving him the opportunity to extend himself out to this team a little bit, and he will never do it.
Yes. Where it is interesting too, because it also tells you at this point that like they don't know his origin yet.
Oh yeah, they know nothing about.
Because they're dropping a lot of orphan talk on this this tragic orphan that was like just ready to cry in a corner and be by himself.
They mostly don't even know each other's secret identities at this point yet.
No, they don't, and they won't for a while.
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason why, especially in these early episodes, the Justice League are just not a good team.
Yeah.
They're bad. They do not work. Because again, they're a bunch of loners they all became superheroes to be loners.
Yes.
So they don't want to work together. So, but it was a great, great moment. All right. So we get back to Man's World, basically. Batman. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying they're on their way back whenever all of a sudden they hear chatter on the comms coming in, and it's a whole bunch of different female voices describing problems happening.
And Batman tries to save the day. He's still out there. He's sweating like a pig, and he's like, I'm going to go into this building and I'm going to get this person. And then he collapses. And
you're jumping ahead to the next episode.
Oh, no, I'm talking about the teaser, the end of the episode.
No, they're. Right. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I was thinking of the bus crash scene later on when he chases after that. My bad.
Yes, is the bus in this episode or in the next?
It's at the top of the next one.
Okay, because this is where like doesn't Batman go down? Like
they like land in the city. I don't think they get off a rooftop though. It's just him and Hawk Girl on a rooftop looking at the chaos.
Oh, you are correct.
In the city.
It does jump in. So basically, we just know that men are going down. But
basically, Hawk Girl says it seems like it's affecting half of the city, and Batman clocks that it's the male half.
Oh, yes.
Dun, dun, dun. And then that's our cliffhanger corner.
That's right. Sorry, I was jumping into next episode corner. So, my apologies. I thought that was the end of this episode, whereas I thought he got sick, but that's the next episode, everybody.
Nope, next one.
What do we think about this cliffhanger, Jeremy?
I actually like it. It's pretty simple. There's not a whole bunch to it, but I mean, like, all the dudes on the planet are dropping dead. Like,
it's a pretty good cliffhanger.
Or at least the dudes in Gotham,
Why the Last Man, huh?
A little bit, yeah.
Makes me wonder if Brian K. Vaughan was a fan of Justice League Unlimited and took
How could he not be?
I don't know either. He's a big nerd. He's a big nerd. You know what, Jeremy? I agree with you. This is an excellent cliffhanger. Really good. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought most of this episode was top notch.
Same.
I thought it was top notch. And I think, as we all know, everybody that is, I'm assuming listening to this podcast, you've probably watched this show through at least once. You know these episodes. And man, the good stuff is really like cracking. And this was the first episode where I was like, oh, this is where this show is going.
Yeah.
Like this is what the quality of the show will become regularly. You know, I didn't know if I said that word right, but anyways. By the way, I want to know in Jeremy and I share a Google Doc for notes, and Jeremy wrote "Women in Crisis" as the last that's how he described the cliffhanger, and I gotta say that would be a great title for a DC comic event.
It kind of would, yeah. I stole that from a DC title a little bit too.
Oh, did you? Like Heroes in Crisis?
Heroes in Crisis, yeah.
Women in Crisis. That's a great title for a sequel. That's great.
I mean, that's what the end of this episode is. It's every woman in Gotham dealing with a pretty huge crisis.
Jeremy, do you have the stats doc open?
I can have it open in about 5 seconds.
Okay.
What would you like to know?
I want to know, have we ever agreed on a cliffhanger before? I think we have.
Oh, yes, we have. But we have.
How often do we agree on cliffhangers?
Let me tell you that. So we agreed twice, 3.
Find those
4,
stats, Jeremy.
5,
Find the stats.
6. We agreed 6 out of 8 times so far.
Okay.
Well, and that doesn't include Fury. We both said yes, so we agreed 7 out of 9 times so far. 7 of 9. There's another Star Trek connection. I did it.
And that means it's time for...
Am I on preview?
You're on preview, sir.
Ah!
Welcome to the game show called Preview. That means nothing, because we just made it up. Jeremy, I do not have a trivia question prepared, but I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
On Preview,
yes.
Everyone's favorite game show. I'm going to tell you a line from this very episode of Justice League, and I'm going to ask you to finish the said line.
Okay.
The character is Copperhead, and Copperhead said, "I like her blank." Finish the line.
I like her style. Woo!
Well done, Jeremy.
You kept me hanging there on that one.
I wanted to make it super dramatic.
Good job.
Also, so Jeremy, our music went away, so I can't play you out. Maybe I can. Hold on a second here. Jeremy, you just won.
Yay.
You just won Preview.
This makes up for all those times I never got to be on Cash Cab.
Did you try?
I was just hailing taxis and getting inside and looking at the driver and being like, "You're not Ben Bailey," and then slamming the door.
Did it ever come to Tulsa?
No.
Then your odds are quite low.
This whole premise is a lie, yes. I'm not.
The odds are quite low. All right, everybody.
I always wanted to do that, though, right? Yeah, I want to go to New York and just try to get on Cash Cab. Yeah.
Look, I want to be on Amazing Race, so we all have dreams, Jeremy. Everybody, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you want to leave us questions for the next episode, be on the lookout for the post asking for questions at patreon.com/Jawiin. Jeremy, where can they find you on social media?
They can find me on Twitter at JLAwesome, but really, probably just send me an email at jasonandjeremypod@gmail.com. I would love to read your email.
Awesome. Everybody, you can...
Send me an email about why you think Jason and I would be good teammates on The Amazing Race, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Ashley's already...
We could do it, buddy.
I know we could.
Right. Fair enough.
I've already... Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm forgiving you.
All right.
So, but if you could learn to speak French, I'd maybe consider it. That's a big advantage that she has over you.
That's true, yeah.
Teammate, so.
No, I'm sure it's not the only one she has either.
Yes. If you want to send us an email about Amazing Race stats and teams, let us know. You can follow me on social media at Jawiin on Instagram and Twitter, and check out any of my books at jasonninman.com. By the way, I'm going to tell you, I don't know if it'll be around the time of this episode, but I'm going to be getting ready to do a flash sale on the old website because I got too many books in my closet. And so like there's going to be an insane discount. So first come, first serve, everybody. Everybody, this has been a great episode of Jason and Jeremy John about Justice League. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Jason.
Well done. And we have jawed enough about Justice League. So there you go, everybody. Just a little brief taste you can get.
Yum, 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 yum.
Is that the sound you should make?
Sure. Hopefully.
Okay.
Hopefully they think it's yummy.
Yeah.
If you think it's yucky, I don't care. I don't want to hear it.
I don't want to hear it either. Just keep it to yourself. Be quiet, you. So yeah, there you go. There's a little taste of Jason and Jeremy, John about Justice League. There are 2 episodes of Jason and Jeremy dropping every single month over the Patreon. So go check that out at patreon.com/Jawiin, Jawiin. We thank all the patrons that are over there supporting Geek History Lesson and supporting our other podcasts, Jason and Ashley's Excellent Adventures, supporting our comic books. Many of our patrons get to read our comic books early before we ever put them on Kickstarter or anything like that. And
people who hang out in the Discord get to see process work too.
Yeah, I've shared a couple covers over on the Discord over there. I should do another one today. And there you go. So yeah, Ashley, any final thoughts?
Hey, you're awesome.
Me?
No,
or the patrons. Okay. So, okay. I'm not
I hope
awesome?
you had a happy Thanksgiving. If you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, then just know that we're thankful for you anyway for
There
being
you
in the
go.
Mind University.
And also, we're thankful if you stuck to the episode and you're listening to this outro, because I bet a lot of people jump ship with the 3rd or 6th sound effect.
Okay.
Those are the 2 big ones during that month. So there you go. So anyways, thank you so much for listening, everybody. We'll be back next week with a regular GHL Geek History Lesson episode. I think it's going to be one you're going to enjoy. I'm not going to announce it right now because I honestly don't remember it. I think I know what it is, but I'm not certain. I'll just
It's
say
a mystery
this.
for all of us.
Well, I'll just say this. There's a Dr. Octopus episode coming.
Yeah.
It might be next week.
Top by you.
I'm not certain about the scheduling. I haven't looked at the schedule yet. So there you go. So it's coming in the future.
Woo.
And you only know that now because you stuck through. So thank you all so much for listening. I'm Jason Inman.
I'm Jeremy Skinner.
What? No, you're not. How did this happen?
Well, he's in more of this podcast than I was. I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
And have a wonderful, wonderful day.